Hi, you guys. We're back. Dallas Duo. We're
Post-summer. It is season 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I can't believe we're on the
3.
3rd season of something that I never thought we would do.
I know. And we took the whole summer off. So yay us. We did enough
We're so good
content
at work-life balance.
in advance, which was amazing.
This season is really fun. So if you haven't noticed, if you're watching video, we're in Kiln's podcast room and it is fancy, you guys.
Yeah.
We figured out how to set up our own podcast in less than 10 minutes. And let me tell you, that is 100 times faster than us when we set it up at our home office.
Yes, we're getting somewhere.
And it's 10 times nicer.
We are moving up in the world, and it's nice to have a full setup here. So really excited about that. We have room for guests, which we have many lined up.
Incredible guests lined up for season 3. I feel like this is kind of like our momentum season. Like we figured out what people want to hear, what we like to talk about, what does well, and we've really leaned into some of those topics and guest speakers this season.
Yeah, agree. And I mean, we looked at our analytics, top 5. We actually posted that earlier in the summer.
Apparently.
Yes, ferritin, number 1. People want to know about
Across
that.
the board. And people are really concerned about sunscreen and Botox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, as they should be.
Which honestly, I'm like, those things come up in my conversations a lot. So I think that's really accurate and I appreciate that.
And how to feed your family, which I think we talk a lot about.
That was a really big one.
Going into the fall. If you missed that one, be sure to check it out because that was really great with
back
Autumn.
to school season. Yeah, I actually referenced Autumn's recipes today because she just posted, I don't think it's new, but like an omelet sheet pan.
Oh,
and I'm like, man, this is such a good reminder that you do not have to make an omelet in a pan. You can make an omelet in the oven instead. And the other one is like hard-boiled eggs, either in the air fryer or in the oven, baking them instead of having to boil water. Like all those little hacks are so nice when you're coming back to school and you're so overwhelmed with all the efficiencies.
Yeah. And things to do ahead of time too, because that just comes in handy, especially when you're, trying to get ready earlier. Everyone's adjusting to a new sleep schedule after staying up later and sleeping in the summer. And I, for one, I'm getting up a lot earlier because Andrew has a 7:30 a.m. practice in the morning now. And last year we started at 9 o'clock. So there's a big difference between getting out the door at 7:30 versus 9.
I got up at 5:40 this morning and questioned life decisions because I went to bed at like 10:30, which optimal sleep, 7.5 hours minimum, I tell my patients. And I was like right at that cusp. But I am potentially toying with the idea of teaching at C7 once a week.
Ooh,
so I went this morning to remind myself that that's something I actually want to do.
Yeah, you're like, do I really want to do this?
I really want to do this. And it was so much fun. I had like such an endorphin rush from it. So I was like, okay, I think I want to do this, but we'll see. We'll see if I'm coordinated enough, if I make the cut or not. So
do you think, I'm sure you will. I've seen your videos. So I think that you definitely
They're heavily edited.
Make the cut on the coordination on the trampoline.
We'll see if I can cut it. But it's one of those things getting back from being in Washington all summer where I got up early. Like I got up at 6, but I wasn't having to be on at 6. And I think that's the difference. It's
like out the door.
I love a slow roll morning, I've learned. Like I love a slow coffee and a slow breakfast and really like not having to do anything for anyone else but myself until 11 is really my perfect life. So coming back and having to live for my child and his schedule from like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is a rough rude awakening.
Yeah, it's reentry. That's what I call it. It's like if you've been away for the summer and then you come back, I guess no matter what, even if you
like
haven't
boot
been
camp
away.
A little bit, like mom boot camp. Like it's like, are you ready to get up at 6 and
make lunches?
Yes.
And...
The drill sergeant is my toddler yelling at me like nothing's ever enough. We finally got into the phase of like those reels people go around. We're like, oh, do you want your grapes cut in halves or quarters? Or do you want them on the left side of your plate or the right side of your plate? We're definitely in that phase right now. We're like, I'm going to tell you I want this. And then as soon as you serve it, I'm going to throw it back at you. We're at that phase.
Yeah. Fun times. It all passes by so fast though. But when you're in it, you're like, will this ever end?
Will it ever end? My husband and I were just talking about this. We're like, the tantrums seem long, but they're so short in the long-term window of things.
Yeah.
That I don't remember.
100%. Well, tell us a little bit more about where you were this summer.
Yeah, so I was in Washington for 6 weeks, which sounds like a long time and a big commitment, and it is. My husband and I have made this a goal since even before we got married. My entire family lives in the same zip code but me, and my family is large. I come from, on my dad's side, one of 7 siblings, large Catholic family, and they held to that rule of having large volume families themselves. So most of them had 3 or 4. Most of their children had 3 or 4. My aunt counted the other day, and I think there is 77 members of my immediate family on my dad's side. So that does not count anybody external from that, like, just strict family line.
Wow.
So, and people usually bring their friends because we're all very extroverted. So there's just a lot of
A lot of
people around
people.
all the time, which is actually such a blessing now that I have a son because he always had a playmate. And my family has a lake up there and we live close to the ocean. So we were either on the ocean, a lake, or a river every day.
That's
James was like,
awesome.
"What lake is this?" I'm like, "This is the ocean." He's like, "Well, what lake is this?" I'm like, "This is the river." He's like, "Oh."
He's going to have it down by next summer.
I know. I'm like, geography is going to be his strong suit at this point. But we were just outside a lot. We were like outside connecting with people a lot. So crabbing and skiing and surfing and stand up paddleboarding and like kayaking and all the things. So it was really fun.
Yeah, well, and much
So
better weather than here.
yes.
So you can be outside and just
Yeah.
enjoying
And
that. And
I did some virtual TV segments like that spanned through Sacramento. I went down to
that's
Seattle for a couple
awesome.
segments. I did some recipe content. It was good. It was a good balance of like seeing patients and then also having like a lot of family time.
That's awesome to take that break and also just for your kids to get to be around their cousins and their
Yeah.
family
Well,
for
you
like,
guys did that every summer. That was such an inspiration, I think, early on, is you were telling me about what you guys did. I'm like, wait, other people are doing this. I can make this happen. I think it's so good to have like wise counsel and mentors so that you realize, ooh, 5, 10 years from now when I'm in that phase, I want to do something like that too.
yeah, especially like when our kids were younger in their school age years, we would go, and Andrew's still in his school age years, but we'd go 4 to 6 weeks and spend the time in Taos. And
It's such a
similar
good
to
reset.
you,
It's so like it's slow, right? Like you
yes.
have to slow down.
Yeah, it's not the same as life as how busy life is here,
Mhm.
but that is like a welcome refresher. And similar to you, really big family. My mom is one of 12, so and they almost all live in Taos. And so growing up, Marissa and Andrew had tons of cousins to play with, lots of time with, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa. And so it was a good reset for us. And just
Mhm.
going into the school year, it was like, okay, now we're ready to come back to the schedule, or mostly ready, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Good change of scenery. Well, now I will say that as Marissa got older, she would have major FOMO about, missing out with her friends. And so
I'm
it
worried
always
about it. I'm worried
take
about it.
it would always take some extra like, well, we'll go paddleboarding or
Yeah.
like finding things to do that like, were different that she wanted to do. And so looking back on it, she will even say like, I'm so glad we did that. I'm so thankful for the summers that we had.
I forget how much of our lives are just lived indoors in Dallas,
Mhm.
and like nothing wrong with that necessarily, but it's just not my jam. I realize like being a PNW raised kid, I spent most of my time outside all the time,
Yeah.
especially the summer. And so the stark difference of that here, we did a month of summer camps and BBS and all the things. And honestly, it's expensive and exhausting. And I feel like the ROI is not really there.
Yeah.
So
And the pool, but that's exhausting too.
yeah, exactly. And so, you can go to the beach and be there all day.
Mhm.
And that's it. That's all you're doing. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's just something easier when you have outdoor options
Yeah.
available to you.
I would agree. And I was like the flip side of that this summer. So for the first time, we didn't go.
Yeah.
And the whole time, we've lived here almost 24 years now and, gone to Taos for an extended time every summer. This was the summer that we did not do that.
Mhm.
My dad had a health thing come up and had surgery here. And so we were in Dallas for the entire summer. And so that felt different. It felt really different to be here and not to, have that change of scenery and pace and weather. Thankful that everything went well and he's doing great. But, we were resorting to mall walks at North Park and I'm thankful for
I mean, you
that.
have to. Like,
You have
what
to.
else are you
Yeah.
going to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's you got to do it.
We had to get our steps in. So I was like, well, North Park, we can walk 2 miles and we can clock
we can get it in. Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to North Park for being such an awesome walking space.
I know if you're going to walk somewhere, I feel very safe there.
Yeah.
I did forget about like being in non-luxurious mall spaces. Like I had to grab something and I had to go to a mall when I was home and I'm like, "Oh, I forgot."
Like in a
This is
regular
how
mall.
this is how the rest of the world lives. The rest of the world does not have like Louis Vuitton and Prada to walk by in their mall at their leisure.
Well, and not to mention an art collection.
Yes.
I mean, fine art.
and exhibits. And I mean, R.I.P. Kate Weiser, but used to be really bomb chocolates, all the things, right?
Yeah.
Which, if you are not following Kate Weiser, she was posting about like her entrepreneurship journey and what she's learned as a chocolatier. I don't know if she's still posting, but
I saw her posting when it happened, when she announced that she was closing, and I was like shocked because I mean that's our go-to. Like so sad. Those are like my favorite chocolates ever, not just in Dallas. And so I was really sad when she closed up shop.
We knew her when she was the chocolatier at Chocolate Secrets. She was their head chocolatier.
Okay.
And did chocolates for Chase's graduation. And because he's so old, she's been around for so long. We're one of her OG followers. So, it was so surprising to see that close. But it was interesting. She's been sharing more like of her entrepreneurial wins and losses and what she learned along the way, which was really cool because as somebody who's been like an entrepreneur for 11 years, I'm like, wow, you learn a lot as you go.
Yeah, and she had great success too. So I definitely want to like backtrack and hear more of her story.
I know.
And
maybe
also,
she's on the podcast.
Yeah, she'd be a great one to have on. And also like what she's working on now.
What she's doing now. What's next?
Yeah, I'm sure she's working on something.
Yeah. It is fun to look back and see people's entrepreneurial journey, what they hop from one thing to another, because sometimes people take like a really, a food-based approach, food entrepreneur, and then they completely pivot to CPG or they pivot to like health and tech or wellness. So I'm interested to kind of see what's next for her.
Yeah, because I think so many of those lessons like we've learned are applicable to other areas, anywhere. Yeah, anything you want to do next, what you learn as an entrepreneur and in business, you can apply that to whatever your next journey is.
When I was on vacation, one of my girlfriends came and visited, and it was her first time to Washington, and she said something, and I was like, oh, ew, no, I would never do that. And she started laughing, and I was like, what's so funny? And she said, it's so interesting that you are so decisive about your beliefs around what you want to do with your business and your partnerships. She's like, I don't think most people function like that. And it made me laugh because early on when we were working on partnerships, even with Whole30, Dallas Duo, when we would talk about something, you'd be like, oh, why not? We'll just ask and see. And I think it was just like, it was a combination of me being like very decisive and you being like fearless, that this combination of being like, oh, why not? Like, oh, we'll just see what happens. And I think there's something really beautiful about that, like positive spontaneity.
Yeah.
Of like, what if?
Yeah. What if? Like,
or why not?
I can shoot off an email. All they can say is no.
Yes, because I think there is, I have luckily like never really related to the business coaching memes that are like, just post the thing or like, just post the Instagram. I'm like, people really are toiling about this? Really? I'm like, oh, I just say the thing I want to say and move on. Right? Like there's no fear about it or the fear of judgment. And I don't really know. I think that's a deep-rooted genetic personality trait of the Richland side of my family. But it's that combination, right, of early on, you weren't like, oh, well, I don't know if we should ask them because X, Y, Z. It was just like, oh, sure, why not? What happens, right?
Yeah.
There's something so lovely that has really benefited us over the years because of that practice.
Yeah, I think so too. I am someone who I can overthink and I'm not as decisive. So I feel like I've learned a lot about that from you of like, don't overthink it. Like, just post the thing because I do tend to overthink that much attention. More. Yeah, exactly. No one's going to nitpick it the way you do. You know, it's like always have to remember that. But yeah, I think there is something about being fearless and maybe it is like blissfully unaware that maybe that's
or like
part
toxic
of it.
Optimism.
Yeah, what is it like delusional? I'm a little delulu about like I'll just ask. All they can say is no, and maybe at least I'm on their radar now, right?
I had that moment earlier this year. I've actually never talked about this, but when I was at Expo West, I ran into Rachel Mansfield. And I've met her 3 different times, and largely because of BTR. Like, I am a longtime lover of BTR. I was an ambassador. I became an investor. I sit on their board. And every year she comes by their booth and they're so excited. And I take her photo and we've had conversation. And I'm one of those individuals that, for the most part, if I meet you, it's like solidified in my brain. Like, I know we've met. I remember your name. My husband says it's not a great quality because a lot of people don't always have the same quality value of you. But I think I really value people. Like, people are my currency. And when I saw her this year, I was like, hey, have you been by the BTR booth? And she just looked at me like she didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh, no.
And I was so embarrassed. And I was like, oh, I just walked off. Like, I was like, oh, sorry, wrong person, because we're in a sea of people. And I saw her again later and she was handing out snacks for Cadoots, the new cracker she's launching. I'm like, oh, can I get one? And she's like, I'm sorry, who are you?
Oh, gosh.
And I was so taken aback and so, again, like embarrassed because I think my currency is being known and being valued and remembered and being like, oh my gosh, we have photos together and I thought you remembered
Like we had a whole conversation.
I thought, and it was back to that conversation of like, oh, I'm like, people don't always remember you. And so it is so important to continue to show up in the inbox or continue to show up on people's DMs, because as much as you might be like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she doesn't remember me. And that was so embarrassing. And like, I don't know what to say. And I'm just going to walk away now and pretend like this never happened. It takes people 7 times to click on something before they buy it. So the likelihood of someone remembering you actually is very low for somebody who has like a big, illustrious career. And so the overthinking of it really doesn't apply, isn't logical.
Yeah, especially these days when, we all get so many emails and
because things are moving so quickly that the likelihood of like every memory sticking in their brain, every DM, every message, like if you feel rude emailing 7 times, they probably didn't remember 3 of those emails.
Yeah. Or it slipped through the cracks somehow, or like, I don't know.
I think that truly happens. So I think that it's like better to do more than less in the communication aspect. And that like it is good to remind people. Like looking back, I'm like, I should have said like, sorry you don't remember me. I remember you. We met last year and the year before and the year before, but I know you meet a lot of people and I don't, right? I have a smaller world.
Well, and I have to admit, I'm not always the best at remembering names. Like I'll remember faces. So what I do is I will say, oh, it's so good to see you, especially if I like know I've already met them, but like I cannot recall the name.
Statement. Like,
I'm like,
you.
it's so good. Like, it's so good to see you. And then like, try to like figure it out. And if not, I'll just be like, please remind me where we met. I know we've met before. And then of course I'm embarrassed, but I don't know. I'm like, at least now I can like,
there is
bring
like
that memory back.
Window too between postpartum and perimenopause where you just have to tell people like, it's just hormones. And sometimes it is, because there were times where I would be sitting in front of somebody that I had seen like 18 times that year and could not for the life of me remember their name. No,
truly some brain fog can weigh into that.
Yes.
Hormonal brain fog.
Yes. Or if you've ever gotten like the verification code on your phone that you have to put into your laptop for some security, at the height of postpartum memory loss, I could not remember those 6 numbers to put into my phone to save my life. I got locked out multiple times from like Instagram and Facebook. It was not a hack. It was just me and my postpartum cognition failures.
Yeah. So. Well, that's relatable. 100%. I feel like at different phases in life, like you just get busy.
Needed came out with like cognition support. I'm like, I will be taking that multiple times a day. How many can I take? Will it fix it yesterday? Great.
Yeah. Extra scoop of creatine. Yes, please. I'm going up to 10 grams.
10 grams because we know it helps with brain cognition. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, what's on the horizon for you this fall? Like other than our fun podcast episodes that we have
good
planned?
Question. Podcast episodes, perhaps teaching a C7 class if I qualify. This is my busy season. So as a media dietitian, I am being asked to talk about brands and quote brands in publications like Eating Well and Shape and Delish. And Back to School is one of the top, read and searched options on the internet. And so brands are looking for support around that. So I'm doing a mix of written publication and TV publications. Like I have one tomorrow on back to school snacks that are allergen friendly. And I'm doing that across the nation. I actually just signed my first multi-city segment. So I'll do
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
one brand in 4 cities, like simultaneously. One is in person and the other ones are virtual. And so it'll be cool to see. I haven't ever done Phoenix or Miami before. And so those are new markets to me. So that's really fun.
That's awesome.
And I get to go to Austin in person. But the big thing for me is like I love talking already and I love talking to people. So the idea of talking about a product that I already love to a bigger audience is really fun.
Yeah.
And then I get to be creative with like recipes and what I bring on camera. So that part is cool too.
No, and you're so good about that, about staging it and like bringing in all the fun elements for lunch boxes or whatever seasonal things. They're awesome.
So cute. And I honestly, it gives me an excuse to like buy the cute things because at the end of the day, like I'm kind of a minimalist. And so I'm not going to buy the super cute things unless I have a segment. So now I have some cutie things for James that I normally honestly wouldn't buy. So
you have a reason. I know I kind of miss that from doing like more recipe posts. Like I'm like, I had like some really cute, like, I don't know, dishes for Thanksgiving or
and different things that go with it. Yeah. Otherwise I'm like, whatever.
Fun kitchen things that I wouldn't normally buy.
So.
Well, that's awesome. Oh, Witness Wellness.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I feel like we need to put that out there.
Starting in late August, there will be tickets going live for Witness Wellness. It is actually being held at Kiln, which is at the Hill in Dallas. So Walnut Hill and 75, very easy to get to. The space is large, beautiful. Because we do podcasts during it, we will have individuals in here doing podcasts. We have 8 speakers. We have wellness experiences. It's being hosted by Uleaves, which is a new awesome like egg-based yogurt and dips that they make. They do sweet and savory. And Good Idea, which is a sparkling drink that improves postprandial blood sugar after meals. And some of the wellness experiences I'm so excited about. Amy Adams is doing acupuncture facelifts.
Oh,
we have sound bath this year with an incredible sex educator. She's actually so much more than sound bath, but she's doing that for us. We have a curated coffee bar with Aurora coffee. So they're going to do like custom espresso drinks.
Okay.
With Poca syrup, if you've seen
that. I've seen that on Instagram. I've been wanting to try it. And last year what was so fun was that we did the podcast interviews with several of the speakers. Yeah. And so that was mini-series on the podcast. And a lot of those episodes did really well. I mean, that's where the Ferritin
so nice
episode
to interview everybody. Well, and it was so nice because as a practitioner, all practitioners are donating their time to the event, which is incredible for them to do. It's great exposure and a great way for them to meet individuals and kind of break some of those barriers down or stereotypes that people might have about certain providers like pelvic floor therapy or whatever. But it also gives them the podcast for additional exposure. And most practitioners honestly don't have the time to take to do podcasts, which is one of the reasons when we have practitioners, we're always so thankful because like their schedule's insane. I very much understand that. And so it's been cool to say like, hey, you can speak, you can meet some new clients, you can get an awesome swag bag, and you can be on the podcast all in one day.
It was definitely a value for them and a value for us too. It gave us a lot of podcast content
and
last year.
I'm almost 95% sure that we're going to stream it this year so that people could participate in the talks live.
Awesome. Okay.
So,
that's great. Oh my gosh.
They have so many different offerings here in the conference room that I think it'll work.
Oh, so you could sell like a virtual ticket.
Yeah, virtual ticket.
Oh, be on the lookout for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that would be like really accessible and cool. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay, big things. And how many, this is the 5th one?
This is the 5th annual Witness Wellness. This will be our 5th year. We started in 2021. And we will host about like 50 women in the space and then about 10 or so practitioners. So I'm excited.
That's going to be really fun. Last year was super fun. So I'm really excited
October
for this
18th.
year.
So we pushed it out a little bit. I was considerate of Texas OU weekend and SMU homecoming. So those cannot be 2 excuses that you have to not come.
Well, and Andrew has homecoming on Saturday. So it's okay. I'll be coming day after.
Actually, I didn't hear about that. I think from Teresa was mentioning that she has stuff to do. And I was like, dang it. Yeah, I was like, I did consider Richardson's.
Yeah. I'm like, well, it's okay. We'll be good. We won't stay out too late. No. Or stay up too late waiting for everything to be finished.
It's so late. So it's going to be so much fun. Anything fun coming up in the fall for you?
I had been wanting to start a Substack kind of more so in the spring and was like, putting the wheels in motion for that and didn't quite materialize just with the things we had come up this summer. So I want to focus on that and get that up and going. And so I just really miss like the long form blog content that I used to do. And so I can think of some things, some content areas that I want to continue to share as an extension of like Instagram, what I share there. And also, so I've been on like hormone therapy now for a little over a year. Yeah. I finally feel a little more confident and like I've been sharing my experience. We've been talking about it a lot on the podcast, but I do feel like I have more to share when it comes to that now. And so I feel like this fall, I kind of want to put a little bit more out there in terms of like what my experience has been. Obviously not as like, what I've learned. Obviously I'm not like a medical professional, but I love learning from other people and what their experiences has been also.
People love that though. Like people love the candid. They don't want like an expert's opinion a lot of times. They want to know like what their bestie experienced.
Yeah. And I mean, I love listening to other podcasts with doctors as far as advice and, actual studies and all of that. But I want to share more just about my experience and what's been helpful for me. So looking forward to doing that a little more this fall. And so those are 2 things I'm looking forward to.
Cool. How was that Claude talk?
Oh, it was great. I know you've been using Claude a ton.
Yeah. Everybody who's against AI, I'm sorry, but it makes my work-life balance so much better because I have to chart and write so much on a daily basis that it helps me be less flowery with my words for charting, which I appreciate.
I could imagine there's a lot of skills you could use for your business on there. So I was using mostly chat GPT for a lot of things, and that was helpful. But now I see that there's more that you can do with Claude. And so I went to a workshop today with Colby Jones. She taught like an hour-long workshop. And so it was really helpful. Just kind of broke down kind of the basics of it and like just some things you can do. It's just enough information to like
not overload
me, to get me excited and motivated to like do some things, but not make me feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind.
Yeah.
So I was thankful for that. So thank you, Colby.
No, I love that. Yeah. AI has come a long way. So I feel like it's like, I think like with all things, like you can abuse it and you can use it in like a cheap, gross way. And it can be obvious that you're using AI, or you can use it in a way to like maybe not write the same thing 10 times over. Like for me and my patients, I'm like, wow, I already wrote that 5 times today. Maybe it can help me, not have to write it 5 times more.
Well, and I think too, like there is something to be said about some things do require a human touch to them.
Absolutely.
And there's some things that like it will never replace. But
yeah, the meme, like when is AI going to take over my laundry? I'm waiting. I don't know.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there are definitely some really, again, like work smarter, not harder. Like I'm all about that.
Yeah, same. I think that's so good. So cool. Well, let's finish up this episode and
good catch up, and be on the lookout for new episodes this fall.
Season 3 coming this way. We're excited.
All right. Bye.